Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. The topic I'll be discussing on is World War I. I will explain World War I in a brief manner and summarize the main events which took place. I will discuss about the major fronts such as the Western, Eastern, and Middle Eastern fronts, as well as the lesser known fronts of the war in detail in separate videos, which will be categorized in parts. Now let's get back to the main story of this war. World War I, also known as the Great War, was the first bloody and brutal war of the 20th century. It was an all-out global conflict between two factions, which were the Entente and the Central Powers. The Entente consisted of many notable countries, such as the British, French, and Russian empires, as well as Serbia and Montenegro. The Central Powers consisted of the German Empire and the Austro-Hungarian Empire. As the war progressed, many new countries also joined the conflict, joining either factions. The main event which triggered this war took place in the city of Sarajevo in Bosnia, when the Archduke of Austria, Franz Ferdinand, and his wife, Sophie, the Duchess of Hohenberg, were assassinated by a Bosnian Serb student by the name of Gavrilo Princip. This assassination shocked the world, especially Austria was not very pleased of this. The Austrians blamed the Serbian government behind this plot and sent an unacceptable ultimatum, which Serbians refused. The Austrians then declared war on Serbia on 20th July 1914. This declaration laid the foundation for World War I. The Germans fully supported Austria's decision, but the Russians actually guaranteed Serbia's protection, and so started mobilization. Germany, seeing this, declared on Russia and France. The reason why Germany declared on France was that France and Russia were also allies, and that France could have joined beforehand to surprise the Germans later on in this conflict. This chain of war declarations sparked the Great War. The Germans thought of a cunning plan to defeat both Russia and France in little time. The German Field Marshal Alfred von Schlieffen proposed his plan, also known as the Schlieffen Plan. In this plan, the German army would first invade through Belgium and Luxembourg to defeat France with their full might, and then re-divert those troops back to the Eastern Front to invade and defeat the unprepared and unprepared Russians. The war had commenced, and the Germans fared well at first by invading through Belgium and Luxembourg to bypass French defenses. But the British entered the conflict because Germany was invading neutral nations. The Germans did face some setbacks in the Eastern Front, as Russia put up a good fight, so Germany had to divert some troops to Russia from the Western Front, which proved the Schlieffen Plan ineffective. As fighting raged on, the Western Front had mostly stalemated, but the Eastern Front was much more dynamic, with Germany scoring a lot of victories against Russia, which was very exhausted. The Austrians were weak and incompetent, as they were unable to invade Serbia and were pushed back by the Russians. Central Powers requested help from the Bulgarian kingdom to defeat the Serbians in return for many territorial concessions. This proved successful as both the Austrian and Bulgarian forces swept through Serbia and defeated them. The Central Powers gained another member, the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire had joined the conflict on the side of the Germans to reclaim territories from Russia and the British. The Ottomans were also incompetent like Austria and got defeated on almost all fronts by the British and Russians, except the Gallipoli offensives, where the Ottomans defended successfully against the British. This war had dragged on for too long, and it had a toll on the combatants. The first major country to collapse was unexpectedly Russia, due to a communist revolution by Vladimir Lenin. He made peace with the Central Powers, giving away all of Eastern Europe under the Brest-Litovsk Agreement. The Germans redirected troops to the Western Front, which was still stalemated at this point. The Germans pushed hard, but only saw minor success. The United States was actively helping the Entente in the war by supplying them with resources, but it was getting disrupted by the unrestricted submarine warfare that the Germans were conducting. One such ship that was sunk by the Germans was the civil cruise liner Lusitania, which had Americans on board. The Germans then sent a telegram to Mexico to attack the United States, also known as the Zimmermann telegram, but it was intercepted by the British and then shown to the Americans. The Americans then declared war on Germany and started sending troops to Europe. These troops, combined with the British and French troops, pushed the Germans back. The Central Powers were now losing and being pushed back on all fronts. The first Central Power to collapse was Bulgaria, and then the Austro-Hungarians, and after that the Ottomans. And on 11th November 1918, Germany surrendered to the Allies. The Paris Peace Conference was held, and separate treaties were signed with the Central Power nations, most notably the Treaty of Versailles, which was signed by Germany, formally ending World War I. The terms of the treaty required that Germany pay financial reparations, disarm its military, lose some of its European territory, and give up all of its overseas colonies. This war started on 20 July 1914 and ended on 11 November 1918, with over 20 million casualties, including civilians. It was dubbed the war to end all wars, meaning that no more wars would come next. But they were wrong, as 20 years later, another global conflict started. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more upcoming parts on this topic. Take care and bye.